So the first thing I'd like to point out is that you do not have to agree with my other videos, okay, and my strong religious convictions to try to do what's right or to watch only these videos. Okay. Now, obviously we see in society, we see a lot of harassment taking place. So why is this woman being harassed? Well, there's political harassment, right? Trump fans harassing people, you know, Democrats harassing people, Antifa, Black Lives Matter, you name it, okay? We see, gang members in popular culture in the movies, for example, harassing people, bullies at school, cyberbullying, workplace bullying. Harassment is a huge problem, okay? And a lot of, the word harass, right? It's like the word ass, her ass. People with nice asses, they get harassed too. So we see that there's a lot of sexual harassment, right? And a lot of times it's a bunch of drunk guys, it's, workplace guys, the good old boys watching each other's back, quote unquote good old boys. So this was prevalent in society already. And law enforcement is very familiar with the lack of action in regards to harassment. Only when it's like a political event, it seems, do people get held accountable. I don't think I know of any kind of incident in my entire life of someone held accountable for sexual harassment, okay, that wasn't a political incident or a corporation's trying to save face or something that had little to do with justice. So there's a lot of issues here that this brings up. Okay, and we look at the history of stoning people and so on and so forth. The whole community comes together. In some places, they encourage their tribal customs of gang raping women who do things that are taboo. We see harassment is a big issue. When we see somebody who is presented as a single mother, okay, whether she's single or not, I don't know, but she's presented that way, being harassed by police, we say, what the hell is going on in America today? Why is this happening? I was taught when I was young, you don't hit a woman, you don't rape a woman, you don't sexually harass, females, okay? But you bring it to their attention when they're doing things that'll give them trouble. So if a female's walking out of a bar drunk and her titties are hanging out, you don't say to yourself, hey, I'm not going to slut you, I'm going to leave that alone. You say, hey, you're showing your, and it, you're a little drunk, are you okay? You want me to call somebody? Right? You don't leave it alone to some degree, unless you might be set up if you do that, right? It might be a setup. So there's that. So people, they don't have kind of common sense these days, right? Common sense is not so common as the saying is, right? Discernment, right? People need to really write down these words and think about what they mean, right? Planning, brainstorming in a way that's effective. Write a rough draft. I found that writing a rough draft first without brainstorming the ideas is actually better, because I think on the spot of what comes next and how to order my thoughts in a logical manner. And then I do the second draft and third and final draft. So when I really take care in a video, which is rare these days because I have so much to cover, like I didn't prepare for this video that way, that's how I do it. People need to get their thoughts together. They need to focus. They need to have discipline. Okay, so if you're this person, and I hope she sees this video, you need to discipline yourself, get your thoughts together, weigh the pros and cons, the risks and benefits. You need to understand your options and what is the morally precise, the pinpointed, morally precise response to this harassment that is occurring. And I can tell you for sure, and I'm not going to get into that in this video, that harassment is extremely common in society. Organized harassment is common. Look up the Martha Mitchell effect, right? They like to harass people and try to discredit them so they can't do anything about it. Notice that as this is occurring, okay, it's very unlikely that that police department will be held accountable. What can they do about it? She claims that they're harassing her. Okay, this is not the first time we've heard this. We see black people and Hispanic people in the ghettos and poor white people and so on and so forth, biker gangs, so on. They complain about being police harassing them, but how often does anyone do anything about it? People, and we see that there's political reasons. People want to pass laws for selfish reasons to address these things in a way that is not morally precise. They want to take away your rights, and they want to bring in more control. So the purpose of harassment in a calculated manner is for control. So it breaks my heart that Americans don't come together and say, hey, this is the exact problem and this is the exact solution. Okay? Or this is the exact problem to the best of our ability, and these are the lists of the most logical conclusions. We simply don't do that. People just hold signs and say, stop doing this, stop doing that. They don't effectively say, this is what's going on. These guys are responsible. This corporation, this social club, this government, this police department, they're part of a network of people who have set a certain standard in society that allows them to do these things with impunity, and they have points of references to refer to when they say, hey, this is why we can get away with this. That police department said they can get away with this because this happens all the time and no one does anything about it. Okay? They violate your freedom of speech, your freedom of expression, your right to complain in a logical manner, and no one does anything about it. So we need to set up a group, okay, with people who are sincere and actually are going to be precise in their response, okay, to investigate these things, and there needs to be perhaps federal funding for these things. Part of the problem here, whether you want to admit it or not, is poverty. People who are disenfranchised and marginalized don't have a lot of say in society. They need to effectively form a group, and not a political party, but a citizens group that ensures that they have rights with no ulterior motive, okay? Because there's powerful corporations that insist that if anything like that occurs, that you address their corporate demands like the psycho control freaks they are. This thing has everything to do with corporate control, has everything to do with government control, has everything to do with people's cowardice and refusal to come together and say, let's do what's right with no ulterior motives.